What up, everybody? So, as I'm sitting here washing dishes, and I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking about what I did yesterday. So yesterday I had made it's about a 20-minute video, and the video was about accomplishments. And I was going to go into detail about some of my accomplishments and things that that I dreams that I reached for and goals that I accomplished and everything. And I got about 19 minutes into this video, and I started to read a poem, and I just got, I guess, tongue tied, tongue twisted, and I just messed it all up. Just fumbled all over my words and everything. And I got discouraged, and I got angry, and I scrapped the whole video. Just deleted it. Didn't save any of it. And that made me even more mad. And I would say, you know what? I got to go back in here and I got to redo this video. And I sit in the room for about 20 minutes, staring at the computer screen or at the camera. I didn't even know where to begin. And this morning, I listened to Hope in a Minute by Pastor Barack. And he was my pastor for about, I don't even know how long, like 13? No, maybe 8 years? I don't even know. I don't even know how long. It was like 2003 to, when did he leave? Maybe 2015? I don't know. He can correct me if I'm wrong about that. But, so, about 12 years, he was my pastor. And he did Hope in a Minute last night, and which was Wednesday, November 9th. So in his message, he talked about accomplishments and dreams and goals and how to set forward towards your dreams, having a goal, a dream board, and working towards these goals, these dreams. And I started thinking, like, man, my wife even told me, I told her, like, I messed up on my video, and now I'm like, I can't do it. I scrapped it. It's gone, so I can't even use that now. And I'm just mad. I'm mad at myself. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm no longer encouraged to do it. I got to do a video this week, and I don't know what to do. And I listened to that message that Pastor Barack made on accomplishments, and I was like, man, that's weird, because my video was on accomplishments, and we don't talk like we used to, So it's no like, hey, I'm gonna do this video and it's gonna be about accomplishments or anything like that. There's no connection at all. And so some of our listened to that message, I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna redo the video, and I'm gonna do it on my accomplishments, right? So my accomplishments, and I'm not like bragging on myself or anything like that, because honestly, a lot of the things that I have accomplished, I've accomplished through the help of many people around me. I've accomplished through, I've had like a certain group of friends that have pushed me towards this and that goal. And although I didn't surpass all my goals, I didn't accomplish all my goals, I've accomplished a lot. I've even accomplished goals that wasn't goals, and which one was to become a certified crisis negotiator. And when I began, you coming in here to beat me up? Dad. Dad. This is one of my accomplishments, is being a dad and trying to be the best dad that I can be. And so, and that, it was. What? So I didn't really plan to be a dad. It was a dream and a goal of mine to become a dad at some point, and I was blessed to be a dad in 2014 when I was 28 years old. God blessed us, and I say that because originally, we had a miscarriage. Before that, in 2008, a girlfriend of mine had an abortion. And so I always thought, you know what? I ain't gonna ever have kids of my own. I'm gonna have to just, be a part of some children's lives and bless them in another way, right? So I always just try to be a blessing. And everything I did, I tried to be a blessing. Because God has blessed me. He showed me grace. He showed me mercy. There's been lots of times that I shouldn't have made it. Lots of things I shouldn't have made it through. Lots of times that, I should have been dead and gone, right? I was in a car wreck, rode 2 3/4 times, and all I got in it was some scratches. By the grace of God, I got up and walked away from it. When law enforcement showed up, I was standing. They didn't know who the person. They thought the person was still in the car, and I told them that I was the person in the car, and they said, "That's impossible. There's no way the person in the car got out." And I said, "Well, I'm him. I'm bleeding from my arm. I got a piece of glass stuck in my elbow, and I'm looking for my phone. So if you want to help, you can help me look for my phone. That's what you can do." Never, ever found that phone. Don't know if it was still in the wreckage or what, but I never found that phone. That wasn't important. It was important to me because I needed to call my job and let them know that I was going to be late. And it was important to me because I was just in a wreck, and I needed to call my mom before she heard it from somebody else and let her know that I was all right. I think I was 20 years old at the time, and that was in 2006. And so one of the deputies showed up, and he says, "Is there anybody that I can call for you?" And I said, "Yeah, you can. My mom works at the elementary school. You can call up there and just let her know that I'm okay, but I need a ride home. My car is no longer good." And they sent a police officer up there, which was Gary Clyden, and he just passed away, which really broke my heart because he was a great man and he was a mentor to me in law enforcement. He showed me the ropes to become a deputy, and so that really, his passing really hurt. He just passed a couple of weeks ago. So shout out to his family, and I really, whenever you have a relationship with somebody, sometimes, you just, that relationship ends whenever your conversation ends, or, if you stop meeting with that person, then all of a sudden the relationship is no longer there. But he was one that, even though he stopped working at the sheriff's office, he was still, I see him in passing most of the time, and we would always stop, we would shake hands, we would talk, and he was always supportive. He always, no matter what, he was a teacher. You know, he was an instructor, even though he wasn't like licensed or he was a mentor. And so that's what I tried to I tried to be a mentor to some people, and I just don't have the patience for it. And I got a bad attitude. You might not believe that, but I do. I even talked about it in a song once. I wrote a song called "If I Could Take It All Back," and that was one of the things. Like, if I could take it all back, I would. But it's already happened. It's already gone. The thing is already passed. So you can't take it back, but you can learn from it. So that was another accomplishment, becoming a songwriter and a Christian rap artist. I mean, I wrote 3 songs. Me and one of my really good friends. That was a relationship that it's not a relationship anymore. Like, we don't even talk in passing. We see each other on Facebook. We might like each other's stuff, but like that relationship ending, or that friendship ending. It wasn't even a friendship. That was a brotherhood, and that ending was very detrimental. Like, that was like, I mean, he was my brother. He was my blood brother. We adopted each other at one point. We sat in his truck, and he said, I never had a brother. And I said, well, I got 2 brothers, but I've never had like a real relationship with them because they live in a different house. They got a different mom, and they're younger than me, and all these different things. I never had a relationship with them. I can't say I never had a relationship with them, because I did once we were all adults. Like, we connected, and me and my oldest younger brother, we really came close, But then, life happens, and you gotta move, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Your job takes you different places and everything. And one accomplishment with my siblings that, one goal, a dream that I have for my siblings is that all 7 of us get together with our kids and whatever. We got close to it once. And I think there was 2 or 3 siblings that wasn't present because of, whatever reasons. But we tried to do it once, and the ones that were there, we had a pretty good time. But my brother, he was going through a rough time at that time, so so that's a dream of mine, is to have my whole family, not my whole family, but my siblings together, all in one place at one time. I'd love to see that before any of us depart this earth. And then another goal that I had was, if I was a senior in high school, if I was a junior in high school, I started writing poetry. I started writing poetry because I liked a girl. That's usually, it's either because you like somebody or because you're very depressed and you just, don't have a life, and your life is writing, so you start writing poems and whatever, short stories, whatever. So mine started because I liked the girl. So I wrote a poem to the girl, but I never gave it to anybody. I kept it to myself. It was more or less a journal that I kept for myself. Wrote my feelings down, but I was afraid to tell anybody about my feelings because I was afraid of being judged because of who I liked, or I wasn't the most liked kid in school. I had friends, and I was a somewhat of a class clown, especially in high school. But as far as being a liked person, like outside of school, I didn't have a whole lot of friends. My cousins was my friends, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't because we had to. It was because we actually liked each other's company. We liked the same things, you know, and you know they might have been in the same situation, you know, like they came from Texas, and you know they had their friends, we had our mutual friends, and it was all good, you know. We hung out together, whatever, you know. We worked on our cars, we put systems in our cars, all this stuff. What up, baby? Did you get your corn dog? Did you get your corn dog? The fan isn't on? Yeah. You want the fan on? Yeah. Okay, well, it's almost time to go pick up your brothers. Yeah, it's almost time to pick up your brothers. All right. That always makes her happy. She loves her brothers. So, what was I saying? One of my accomplishments was becoming an author. And that happened because I wrote a poem that for the longest time I wouldn't take credit for, because I didn't feel like the words were mine. Like, I wrote it, but the words were that of someone else. And I say that because I got home pretty late one night from work. I was a police officer, and I got home pretty late, and I think I played around on the computer a little bit, did some early Facebooking, and this was 2007, so Facebook was about 3-4 years old, something like that. So I did some Facebooking, and then I went to bed. While I was completely passed out, I was asleep, and I heard this voice, these words. It wasn't like calling my name, but it was just like these words coming to me, and it was like somebody talking in my ear. And so I woke up like, huh? What's going on? Who's there? Huh? Where am I at? You know? And so, you know, I like, you know, brushed it off a little bit, thought I was dreaming or something. I went back to sleep. And then I heard the words again. It's the same words. It just kept going over and over and over again. And so I wake up again. I'm like, what? Who's here? I get up and looking throughout the house. I'm like, you know, somebody. I walk outside, like somebody's at my window or something. Ain't nobody there. So I go back in the room and I sit on the bed. And I'm like, all right, I ain't hearing nothing while I'm awake, so I need to go back to sleep, right? So I lay back down, and I'm on the verge of going back to sleep. And I hear these words again. And I sit up and I start writing the words down. Everything that was said, I'm writing it down. And after I write it down, I read it, and I'm like, man, this sounds like a suicide note. This ain't good. But what does it mean? Because it wasn't mine. Like, none of the words came from my mind. I didn't think these words up. They were spoken to me. And so I wrote it on Facebook, and I hit send, or upload, I think it was at the time. And so it uploads. I go back to bed, and about maybe 10 minutes later, Pastor Barack, which I knew him as who he is at the time, but Pastor Barack calls me, and he says, hey, what are you doing? And I said, I was trying to go to sleep. And he said, hey, you just wrote something, didn't you, on Facebook? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, why did you write that? And I said, look, first off, I am not suicidal. I ain't trying to kill myself or anything. He said, I don't think you are, but why did you write that? And I said, I don't know. The words just came to me. And he was like, I need you to come to my house right now. And I said, look, dude, I told you I'm not suicidal. I'm okay. I am okay. He would say, no, you don't understand. You need to get to my house right now. And this is like 1:30 in the morning. So I'm like, oh, all right. So I get up, I get dressed, and I go over to his house. And he's waiting on me. And he opens the door, and he's like, all right, tell me about this poem. And I said, look, I've told you. I wrote it, but it didn't come from me. He was like, who do you think it came from? And I was like, I don't know. I heard this voice. I started writing down the words that the voice was saying. And he said, well, did you know that this person in our church passed away about the same time that you wrote that you published that on Facebook? And I was like, no, I had no clue. I did not know that this person passed away. I knew that the person was in the hospital and was doing bad, but I didn't know that they passed away. And he was like, yeah, my wife and my daughter are on their way over there right now, or they've been there or whatever. And so, yeah, I believe that her spirit came and spoke to you because she knew that you could get out the words that she needed to say. And I believe that that was her speaking through you to her family to let them know that she's okay. And it sent chills up and down my spine, my arms. I got goosebumps. Whew. And so like I was weirded out a little bit, but at the same time I was like that's God using me, right? You know, like he used me to speak to somebody's family for them. Not like I'm a medium or anything, but you know, I believed it because the words literally were spoken to me by nobody in the room. So I was like, yo, this creepy, right? So then a couple of years go by, or no, not even years. It was like a couple of months go by, and I'm on Facebook and I see this deal for there's like something asking no, it was a forum that I was in, and I met a dude through this forum because we would talk about poems, and he was a New York City police officer. He was retired, but he was a New York City police officer. His name is Tony, and he read a couple of my poems, and he was like, yo, I like your poems, and you know, this and that, you know, I got some poems too, we should bounce them off each other or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool, you know, I really like that. Plus you know, you're a retired police officer. I'm a current police officer. At that point I hadn't gone through the academy yet, so I was trying to learn as much as I could from anybody that would teach me. And so we talked a little bit through Facebook and through this forum deal, which was like poetry.com or something like that. And so I published, there was a deal on there to where you could enter a poem of yours and have it published in this great book. And so I was like, yo, that's pretty awesome. Which poem am I going to do? And most of the poems I did were all about, you know, they were love poems, but it was like sappy love, like, oh baby, I love you, you know. So it's like, you know, I don't want to do one of those, you know, I want to do something meaningful. And so I chose that poem that was titled Last Breath. And there was a space on there where you could put what this poem was about, and then you could put the poem and who and your name. And so I started to do that. I started to write what this poem was about. And then I thought of how crazy that sounded and how insane that made me look. And so I took that all off of there and I just put the poem on there and I submitted it. And then like towards the end of 2007, I got a book in the mail that was titled The Best Poems and Poets of 2007. So it was this book, The Best Poems and Poets of 2007, written by the International Library of Poetry. And that poem, Last Breath, was published in 2007. And this is what, like, I started to read it yesterday, and just I got all the way through it. Right down towards the end, I don't know, I got choked up and I started to fumble across it. And so I got discouraged and I scrapped the whole video. So you got 5 words, huh?
Mhm.
And you gotta write them?
Mhm. But I need to do this. I will whip it off and give it to you. So I can't look at the.
At the words?
Yeah.
At how to spell it?
Huh?
At how to spell it? So you can't look at how to spell it? So I gotta read the word to you?
Mhm.
Awesome. Alright, let's do it then. So, go to the bathroom. So that was one of the things that an accomplishment that I wouldn't accept it as an accomplishment because of the fact that I felt that the words didn't belong to me. And so since I felt that the words didn't belong to me, I didn't want to accept credit for it. You got a corn dog on the table. What you eating? What you got in your mouth? Let me see. It's a corn dog. You eating a corn dog. Go eat your corn dog. Go eat your corn dog, dog. Gross. Kids. Love them. Where was I at? The book. Yeah. So, what you got there? Hold on. Hold on. 1 minute. So anyway, my kids are home from school now, so there's a lot of distractions. I apologize for that, so I'll be stopping, whatever, it's all good. So my accomplishment of becoming a published author has come true. I accomplished that goal. I couldn't accept it because I felt like it wasn't my words, so I couldn't accept recognition for it. Even though I wrote it, the words were spoken to me, and I felt like nobody would believe that how it happened. Like the words were spoken to me. I wrote the words down, and so whenever I put this in the form to have it published, and I could have wrote the about me section telling about the poem, and I said, you know what, I'm not gonna do that because I don't think anybody would really believe that that's how it came about. Because for me, initially, hearing it, writing it, having that conversation with Pastor Barack, it was hard for me to take in. So let alone to have somebody else read that and be like, oh, really? So later on, after it was published, I told somebody the story and they were like, really? And so like I posted another deal on Facebook that was like, I usually write lovey-dovey type poems, but this isn't that type of poem. It's a love poem, but it's not the same kind of love. This is a love, yes. You're sleepy? Oh, okay.
Bubba's not listening.
He's not listening. Okay, I hear it now. He's not listening to you?
Yeah, because you can video when you're busy.
Oh, I'm making a video so y'all can. He's okay. Okay. I can still hear him. Right now he's doing the itsy bitsy spider. They just really want to be in video. Always. Especially Jordan. He's usually the one that's trying to get up in the video and everything, stand right next to my side and look over my shoulder. But this time, it seems to be Novalee. She went and got a chair. And she's looking up at me with her mouth open like, I'm about to do something I ain't supposed to do. But wait, did you eat all your food? Go eat. Go eat your corn dog. You have some chips after you eat your corn dog. Okay? Alright, ready? Break. Alright, let's go. So, that was an accomplishment. I made that accomplishment. I didn't accept that accomplishment, but it is an accomplishment. Another accomplishment or a dream, a goal that I had my entire life was to become a police officer. I was a police officer for 14 years. 14 long, hard, grueling years. I've accomplished a lot of things that some of them I didn't set out to accomplish, or they wasn't goals initially, but I kind of stumbled upon them and was like, you know what, I need to go ahead and do this. So in 2016, I got to negotiate with the guy who was going through a crisis and he wanted to take his own life. I knew how he felt because I had been in that position before of being depressed and suicidal when I was in high school, but the situation was different for him, and the means of carrying this out was different for him. But I knew this guy, and I was able to successfully negotiate with him and get him the help that he needed. And then that set the course for a new goal or a new dream, which was to be a crisis negotiator. And in 2018, I went to the FBI Basic Crisis Negotiator course in Oklahoma City at the FBI headquarters. And I completed the course. And I became an FBI Basic Crisis Negotiator. Not for the FBI, but through the FBI. Which was awesome, you know. Like the whole course was a week long, and like we spent hours going over casework, doing practicals, and being, you know, kind of out in the field testing and everything, and actually talking to somebody who, you know, although they were playing a role, they were serious about the roles that they played. So, you know, it's a real life situation. And having had already been in a real life situation, I took that very serious because I made a lot of mistakes in that real life situation that could have got me killed. So if I say there's lots of times that I could have been killed, or there's lots of times I shouldn't be here right now, I mean it. I've been through stuff that, you know, that ordinary person, you know, probably wouldn't even think about going through. Had guns pointed at me. There was once a time when me and another deputy, the current sheriff, he had a gun pointed directly in his gut. And I was directly behind him. I was naively, because I didn't know what was happening inside the truck. I was standing behind him with a flashlight over his shoulder and didn't know what was happening right there in the front. And the whole time he was fighting, literally fighting for his life, because the guy had a gun stuck in his stomach. And he grabbed a hold of the gun, of the barrel and the slide, and managed to get the gun turned around. And if he hadn't done that, again, I wouldn't be here today. Or if I would be, I'd be in a lot of, you know, I'd be hurt. Because that dude, he was like 6'3" maybe. So that shot would have been roughly right in this area. You know what I'm saying? Even though I had a vest on, the vest, you know, it would have been probably at the top of the vest, or, you know, just above the vest. Which means I wouldn't be here today. Which means my daughter wouldn't be here. Which means my youngest son wouldn't be here. I've had lots of encounters that should have taken my life. A lot. From wrecks to gun calls to shots fired to fights. All kind of stuff. You don't think about how much that messes with your psyche. But after going through everything I went through with the police department in 2020 and 2021, especially 2021, that's whenever it like really hit the fan. And I had to like really focus on my mentality because I was like really hurting, and I didn't realize how bad I was hurting. But I was hurting to the point that my marriage was suffering, and I didn't know. I thought I was keeping everything in control. I thought that I was in control of the situations when I wasn't. And so another accomplishment was, one, getting out of that situation, getting away from narcissistic people, getting away from a department that was endangering lots of people, getting away from a system that was not working correctly. Because, you know, like in 2020, we were thinking like, all right, you know what? Once the new city manager comes on, a lot of things are going to get better. But it didn't. It actually got worse. I mean, 10 times worse. And there's a lot of people that were trusting in this new system, that this new system was going to work, and that the old system would be gone. This good old boy system would be gone. But we got a problem in that was worse than a good old boy system. And then the ones that decided to stand up to it, to fight the corruption, we were the ones that, for the most part, got pushed away, you know? Alright, so I kind of forgot where I was at, but I do want to continue on. I don't want to talk about accomplishments because I'm bragging on myself, or I'm bragging on something that I did. Honestly, I talk about them because I went through a lot of stuff. I know the people that I was dealing with, or the people that I was involved with at the time, they've gone through a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of people come up to me, and people that I've arrested, and they've told me that they've thanked me for beginning the process to them becoming a new person. And that in itself, although it's an accomplishment, it's also humbling to think that, you know, somebody comes up to me and they're like, man, I just want to thank you. And I'm like, for what? I didn't, you know, you, if anything, you should be pissed at me. Like, I sent you to prison, or it's because of me that you went to prison, you know, whatever, you know. Maybe I didn't send you to prison. The DA and the judge did that, but I got the ball rolling. And they'll say, no, what you did was you got the ball rolling on me becoming a new person. You got the ball rolling on me becoming a Christian, because while I was in prison, I joined this group or that group, or I went to Bible study and I joined the church and this and that. Now I'm out, I'm continuing on that same path. And if it wouldn't have been for you catching me, I wouldn't even be doing that. And I'll be like, well, you shouldn't be thanking me, you should be thanking God. Because I was just a pawn in his game of chess. That's pretty much all it is. God used me to get mercy to you. And another thing, like, my wife worked in the jail at one point, and there would be lots of people that would, you know, like, when somebody new comes on the floor, they're like, oh, hey, you know, hey baby, what's up, you know, whatever, trying to talk to them through the bars and all that, you know, trying to spit game, whatever. And then a lot of the ones that was in there was like, yo, that's Johnson's. You need to lay off of that. And they'll be like, oh, for real? Man, I've had lots of people stand up for my wife just because of how I treated them in the process of whatever we were doing. Like if I arrested them or if I was present when they was arrested, even though another officer might have been treating them some kind of way, I always tried to show respect to everybody that I came across. So treating everybody with respect came because of the teaching that I received whenever I first became a police officer. Although the department had problems, members of the department, the chief, family members of the department had problems and everything. One, I wouldn't have got that job if it wasn't for my dad, because my dad served in the military with my first assistant chief. So my assistant chief gave me a chance. And I'm grateful for that. So if I can be a blessing to somebody, that's what I want to try to do. Because I've had countless people be blessings in my life. God has used me in a way that, honestly, I couldn't do by myself. Truthfully, I couldn't do it by myself. Whether that's him placing somebody in my life like Pastor Barack and Matt, I wrote a poem dedicated to them because they saved my life at a time that I was in a really dark place. And I know that like not everybody is supposed to be in your life forever. Like there's people that come for a season and then they go because that season has ended and they gotta go on to their next mission. And you gotta go on your own next mission, I'm grateful for my stepdad, even though like we had our battles. We fought, growing up was really hard. But you got people that don't know each other. They don't know each other's mentalities. And plus you're a kid, you're growing up and you don't know, what to expect and everything. And plus you're also expecting for your biological father to eventually come back into your life, and you don't want to get too close to this person because when that person comes back, you just gonna run right over there. And that's what I did a lot of the time. Majority of the time. If my dad came around, when he came around, I was ecstatic. I was like, like my hero just flew into town. Like Superman just landed. And, just deuces to, this guy. But in reality, looking back on my life, and that's what I'm doing with my book, is looking back on my life and writing about the way I perceived everything. The way it looked to me, the way it felt, the way just everything. So I'm writing the book. Is the title of it is actually I wrote the book. I'm having it published, and I gotta come up with the money for it. But I'm having it published, and the title of it is That Bastard: From Fatherless to Fatherhood. And I put from fatherless because when I was born, I was a bastard child. My dad didn't come to the hospital. I have no father on my birth certificate. So I was born a bastard. And I always hated that term. I finally just accepted it. Like, it's what I was. I was born a bastard. I had no dad. And it wasn't until I was an adult, and not even just an adult, but until I started having my own kids, that I started to realize the impact and the importance and the sacrifice that my stepdad made to be a part of mine and my sister's lives, to help my mom with us. And I'm trying to keep from getting emotional because, you know, our relationship with him was like an unspoken relationship. Like, we knew that we loved each other. We said I love you back, you know, whatever. And he told me that he was proud of me. Even on his deathbed, he told me that he was proud of me. And I guess, in a way, that's an accomplishment. Because of everything that I learned about how to be a dad, about how to be a father.